Well, great evening, great evening, great evening. Next level. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get you all to come on and hop in and join in. We're going to get everything situated here, cameras and all of that in our face. There we go. But I want to welcome you all as you all come in. I want to thank you all for joining Next Level on tonight. And again, as I say every week, I'm appreciative of all of you all that participate in Next Level. So as you come in, let me know you hear me loud and clear, all of that good stuff. And, you're excited to be here. Just put those hands on the screen. If you feel like God's going to shift you tonight, this is my night of next level. Whatever you want to say, I just want you to just be vocal tonight and just put something on the screen that lets you know that you're excited about next level. If it's just that, I'm excited about my next level. And I want to thank all of you all for joining and being a part, and just hopping on and hopping in. And do me a favor tonight, something I, try to ask every week. But as you're listening tonight, I want you to just click the share button, and it may be somebody else that, could benefit from Next Level Thinking tonight. So I want you to click the share button and see and put that out there, and those that may not be on my page can hear it from your page, because I believe that next level can truly be a blessing to us on tonight. And I'm just giving everybody time to kind of chime in. But again, the things that um, you have to do to to prepare yourself and get ready to do this, and to record these things and put these things out, and you want to operate in excellence and all of that. At the end of the day, the most beneficial thing for me is that if I say something tonight that's really going to encourage you and build you. That's what my ministry is about. It's about encouraging and not discouraging. And no matter what kind of day you had, I wanted you to come in and join in tonight and just really listen and hear what God is saying to us. Now, I'm not on here to preach. I'm just on here to just really motivate and push and encourage and build you, because there's a next level for everybody. And I learned that, and I try to teach that if God can shift me, he can shift you. If God can do it for me, he can do it for you. Somebody put that on the screen. He can do it for you. God can do it for you. And you're listening and looking at somebody that I've had to come through some of the most challenging things in my life, and that's what we're gonna be dealing with tonight. But God did it for me. He got me to the place I am, and here's my testimony. I know it was God. I know it was not me. I know that I didn't scheme and manipulate my way to be where I am. I waited on God, and I did it God's way. Somebody put it on the screen, just do it God's way. You may not have a big crowd, you may not have whatever, but just be that what you're supposed to be, and be that place and purpose in life that you're supposed to be. Because I know I'm on here tonight to help somebody. And so we ask God's favor, we ask God's grace. We ask God to move, that don't allow anything to hinder us from doing what we're doing tonight. And we just ask God that the people that are listening from wherever you may be new to this is maybe something you just stumbled on. But I pray that it just bless you and encourage you and build you and strengthen you. And so tonight, I kind of want to focus on something that I think is needed. Um, I want to start by saying this. I've learned this a long time ago when I started pastoring this church and even doing next level, that it's one thing to sit and to watch somebody else do it. It's one thing to have the opportunity to. I was blessed with an opportunity to watch my pastor Bishop Smith, to watch somebody do it, and sometimes watching people do things, um, you sometimes have a tendency to not realize the challenges that it really takes to do the things that you do. And this is for people who are getting ready to do something, or do something different, or do something greater, or take the next step. I just want to share with you tonight, and I want you to put it on the screen, the challenges that come with your next. That's what I want to talk about. The challenges that come with your next. I want you to just hear me tonight. Um, it's nothing about life that is easy. There are some things that may come and may not be as challenging, but whenever you make up your mind that you want to do something or you want to accomplish something, it comes with challenges. I mean, some of you all listening to me tonight, I want you to put on screen, I'm being challenged. I'm being challenged. Even now, I'm being challenged. Doing next level, as easy as you may think it's just a click of a button, but it's a lot of things that take place to get to this point, and it's challenging. And what I've discovered about people that sometimes don't like challenges is they run away from it. And I want to put this in here. Don't run away from your challenges. Somebody put that on the screen. Don't run away from your challenges. Don't feel like you can't do it because it's hard. It's challenging. Because what is a challenge? A challenge is somewhat like a task or a situation or even a problem that a person may have to deal with, and they have to have a level of determination to get it done. And so a challenge is something that is sometimes is difficult. You got to go through obstacles, and it requires you to overcome. It really requires you to overcome those difficulties and those obstacles. It's you could be going through a mental challenge, physical challenge, emotional challenge, and even a spiritual challenge. But it's a challenge, and you have to have the ability to overcome it. That is, it's not the challenge itself, is do you have the mental, physical, and most importantly, the spiritual capacity to overcome it. And if you can't overcome it, then it's going to overwhelm you. And I want you to say this tonight. I can overcome it. And that's what a challenge is. It's grueling. It's tasking. It's frustrating. And sometimes we pray for things and those things don't happen as quick as we want them to, because sometimes what you're praying for can be a challenge because it could really push you to the brink. It could really look and it could really test what's really inside of you. And all challenges, every challenge is different, but none of them are easy. That's why they're challenges, because you have to put forth effort, and you have to have determination, and you can't just think that somebody's going to hand it to you, give it to you. You've got to put forth a lot of effort to get to that next level. And it's designed for you. I don't believe that God tries to make it hard for us. I believe that God allows us to go through things to prepare us for where we're going, but that doesn't make it any easier. I've had some things even right now that I got that I'm praying about, and it's like, God, I just want this to be done. I want this to happen for me. I got people that I'm praying for. I got people in situations that I'm praying that God will move, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Sometimes associations and dealing with people and dealing with jobs and being a husband or a wife or a father or a mother or a friend can be a challenge. But you have to learn and have to have the determination to see the results. The Bible says this, that's better is the end of a thing. You have to have the determination to say, I'm going to stick with this because I believe in the result. Somebody put that on the screen tonight. I believe in the result. And so the reason why I keep trying and the reason why you should keep trying, it is not the challenge, but you believe in the result. If you don't believe in the result, then why do it? If you don't believe in the result, then why cheat yourself? You got to believe in the result. That's why many of you all have not quit. It's because you believe in the result. You see something really good coming from what you're doing. And so I want to deal with these things that you know that and I just want to put these three things in your spirit that come with challenges. The first thing that come with challenges, there's a challenge to leave where you are. Somebody put that on screen. There's a challenge to leave where you are. Because in order to get to where you're going, you got to leave where you are. And sometimes where you are seems a little bit more appeasing, a little bit more comfortable. And there's a challenge sometimes to leave where you are. And here's the thing. Sometimes it's hard to leave where you are, even if you don't like where you are, because you're used to being where you are. I've had times in my life, I can be honest with you, I didn't like where I was, but I had grown accustomed to being there. And so getting up every day and it being hard and difficult became a routine. Struggling to pay bills, struggling to do just basic things was something that I kind of settled in because I was used to being that. So I got used to being doing it. Don't you know that your next move is not trying to make it hard, but trying to make it better for you? So that the next job, the next thing you're applying for, the next business decision, what you're trying to do as a person, leaders, what you're trying to do in leadership, it really becomes easier. It was like next level. You may not know it, but what I did with next level is I moved next level to not just being on Facebook, not just being on and just Instagram, just two places. I moved next level to whereby I stretched it over other virtual platforms. And I realized that I went and got some new things and cameras and different things. And I realized that once you overcome the challenge, you say to yourself, I could have did this a long time ago. I convinced myself that it was hard because it was easier to stay where I was. See, sometimes you're convincing yourself that it's harder and it's difficult, only to discover that when you make the move, you say to yourself, I should have did this a long time ago, but I had to get over the challenge. And sometimes challenges are just small. It's just the way you think. And sometimes you're used to thinking a certain way. So you're used to thinking a certain way. So you don't realize that there's so much more to you. Here's your thing. When you leave where you are and you get to where you're trying to go, you will discover that it was all laid out and prepared. Do you not know that hear me tonight? That right now God is preparing you for your next. There's nothing about right now that's preparing you for right now because you've already been prepared for right now. But right now, God is preparing you for where you're getting ready to go. God has given you strength that you didn't even know you had. That's why you're able to manage and maintain your life because you've been prepared for this. So when you are dealing with a challenge, first thing you got to do is challenging to leave where you are. Some of you all may want to say this with me. It's time to go. It's time to pursue something else. It's time to do something else, and it can be a challenge to leave the space that you're in. But it's time to go. It's time to make a somebody put this on the screen. It's time to make a move. And in making a move, I got to move from where I am. The second challenge in the thing that can be challenges is leaving who you are. Now this is going to probably hit home for some of you all, but I realized that I could not be where I am right now, being the person that I used to be. I had to make some changes. Somebody put this out there tonight. I changes. I had to make some changes. I had to get to a point that I had to make some changes about myself. I didn't need nobody to keep telling me. I knew that there were things about myself that were hindering me from getting to my next level. It's like some of you all heard the term. I had to work on me, and that's for some of you all. If you think you're okay, and you think that some of the behavior that you portray and some of the things that you do is going to get you to where you're trying to be, I'm telling you, you're sadly mistaken. You're going to have to really work on yourself. I want you to be honest with yourself and say, I can do better. And I got to do better. I can't go into certain arenas thinking the way I used to think, even when I came from the street. I can't be in the church thinking like I was in the street. I can't even be in the church acting like I was in the church. It was amazing. When I got in church, when I first started going to Wings, I was still kind of one foot in the world, one foot in the church. I was that person. And, I realized that there was a certain way that I had to change and a certain way that God wanted me to be. And He didn't want me to be that way like I was in the street. And I think, and I'm just being honest with you, there was certain things about me that I had to just say, you know what? I got to stop this. I got to cut this out. Oh, it was hard because it's hard leaving you sometimes in what you used to being. But I knew I had to do it. See, so you gotta say this to yourself, do you want it? And here's the question, type it on the screen, how bad do you want it? Now, if you don't want it that bad, then stay where you are and where you are. But if you want to, if you're in a position on your job and you are, and your position is not really requiring you to have a certain level of conduct, certain level of dress code, how you handle yourself, then stay where you are. But if you're ready to go to that next level and you think you're going to be over people, you can't be over people acting and conducting yourself the way everybody else act. That has to be a change. If I'm talking to you tonight, say you talking to me, you can't do it. So I realized that I can't, and I didn't come into church being a minister or being a preacher. I just came into church just a regular, ordinary person that's trying to lead the world. And if I'm gonna lead the world, I had to lead the world. I know y'all don't want, you may not want to hear this, but you can't do both. You really can't do both. You can't say that I'm gonna still be worldly and then come and then say I'm changing my. If I'm gonna lead the world, I had to lead the world because there's an expectation that God has out of me. I can't do what everybody else do, and this may be kind of repetitious to some of you all, but here's your next level. Once I made up my mind that I can't do what everybody else do, I understand now that I have a responsibility. And even as I got into church and then I started my own church, I realized that even though I wanted to stay who I was, I'm a leader now. There are more requirements of me. And sometimes I don't feel like it's fair, but I understand that if I'm going to continue to get to the next level, then I gotta be different. I'm not trying to be like everybody else. I can't do it the way everybody else. It requires more of me. And some of you all need to hear me that it requires more. Somebody put that on the screen. It requires more. You can't, you thank you tonight, Holy Ghost. You can't say to yourself that I'm going to take another step and then stay where I who I am. It doesn't work like that. I gotta give more. Sometimes I gotta work a little harder than everybody else. Sometimes I gotta, do a little bit more. I gotta be more understanding. I gotta have more patience. I can't react like everybody else. Because why? Because I'm accountable and I'm an example. So if you want, again, this is what comes with next level. And we'll pray for a new position in the job, but then a new position may require you to do something to be a new person. That's why you took the new position. See, the Bible is so right when it says this. You cannot pour, new wine into old wineskin. You can't stay who you are and then go where you're going. You have to make some changes. You can't be loud like you used to be. You can't be aggressive like you used to be. You can't be so quick to snap like you used to be. And it requires, and I'm just telling you, next level requires a lot of patience and constantly working on yourself. You got to have confidence, but you got to have humility because confidence ain't being cocky. You can be confident, but you got to be humble. You got to be meek. You got to know how to treat people. You got to care about your fellow brothers and sisters, because the higher you go, the more it's going to be required of you. To whom much is given, much is required. And so you're not going to always be in a space where you can be the old you. And I think some of us struggle with that. And I know this. I do not, me personally, I don't badmouth the church. I don't speak negative. I say this all the time. But I do know that there's a lot of leaders that have not truly converted into leadership. And so they still want to kind of act like, they the old person and the old new you, and then we constantly saying, well, I'm gonna be me. Well, sometimes being you is not gonna get you to that next level. And I'm not telling you to lose who you are, but what I mean by being you is the you that you are is probably not gonna keep you where you are. See, I've always lived with this, and I've always said this in church. I don't want my gift to take me somewhere my character can't keep me. I don't want to get somewhere and then realize I ain't got no business there because I don't know how to act. I don't know how to do things. I don't know how to handle things. I don't know how to adjust. I work in an environment with mayors and governors and chiefs and sheriffs, and some of you all, you want to be in a different realm, in a different environment, then you got to conduct yourself differently. I'm not loud. I can't just lose who I am. And the reason why I say I is because if I'm going to tell you how to get to this, I can only use myself. And I had to really, really work on me. Man, that was some things that I had to say to myself sometimes. See, you handled that wrong. You could have did that a little better. You got a little too upset. You got to get a little bit more patience. That's why a lot of people that sit under me now, the one thing you notice about me, I don't do a whole lot of fussing. I don't do a whole lot of going back and forth. I say stuff like, well, I'm gonna tell you because I want you to listen. But if you are confident and you feel like this is where you want to be and that's how you want to do it, then I'm just gonna love you there. See, I'm tired of trying to make people go to the next level because you can't force the next level. See, it's like I think Bishop Hodges says this last week. You can't fuss faithful. You can't fuss people into being faithful. I can't scream and holler at people and make them be faithful. I can be patient and I could just continue to be that example that I need to be, and prayerfully and hopefully I'm walking upright enough that people can look and say, well, I'll try that. Because see, your job and your goal ought to be to make people want to do better. See, and not to keep you where you are. I don't want you on next level and you be on next level for years and then I look and you still stay where you are. Then that's not successful. I want you to look at this broadcast tonight and say, I'm gonna try that. But I also want to be that example to get you to understand because I don't want to wake up one day and realize I could have been more. Help me tonight. Let me say this to you all, and I'm hopping off the ramp. I've never wanted to wake up and say to myself and look in the mirror at myself and said, you wasted too much time. You wouldn't change. You wouldn't stop. You wouldn't let stuff go. And now look at where you are. See, sometimes the holdup ain't God. The holdup is you. I want you to say this night, Lord, don't let me hurt me. I've been hurt. I've been hurt by a lot of people as far as the way I feel like I could have been treated better, handled better, but I don't want to hurt me. I don't want to be the person that hinders me from getting what because I can't change or because I'm too overly emotional or because I let everything bother me. Because see, when you get ready to go to that next level, you got to have alligator skin. You got to let stuff, everything can't penetrate you. Everything can't bother. So if you are somebody who just can't take criticism or you got to stop for a minute and say to yourself, do I really want this? Because they're going to talk about you. You got to know who you are. See, you gotta know your truth. They gonna say stuff about you. And if you're bothered by what people say about you now, just keep going higher. Because I'm here to tell you, the rumors get worse, the criticism gets worse, the lies become more frequent. How people see you, most people that talk about you are people that's not willing to do what you do, and it's not easy. So you have to look at yourself and say these words, say, Lord, work on me. So that's the second thing. You just put it on the screen. Say, Lord, work on me. Because the challenge is leaving who you are. And then here's the last one. Here's the last one. Somebody said, I needed this tonight. Here's the last one. The first challenge is leaving where you are. The second challenge is leaving who you are. And the third challenge is leaving who you are around. I don't know how to say this and stress this. Let me tell you something, and I'm finishing. Everybody will not be able to remain in your life. You're going to have to be okay with leaving people behind. And maybe when you get where you are, you come back and get them. But sometimes your one of my problems and one of my slowdowns was I think I cared too much. And let me explain. I cared so much that I was willing not to do what I needed to do because I was too overly concerned about some that really didn't care if they went to the next level or not. Be cautious of people that don't care. Be around people that's concerned about their well-being. See, if you ain't gonna take care of you and you ain't gonna handle your business, you definitely ain't gonna be able to handle mine. If you don't know how to, oh my God, if you don't know how to protect your character, if you don't care about your character and your integrity, you don't care about mine. And what you'll discover is this. This is a lesson that I learned, is that as I began to grow and come out of the world and get into the church, I realized that I look back, not, and this was years ago, I look back at some of my friends and I said, wow, that was me. That's why I was able to stay in that environment, because that's who I was. Now, I'm not knocking them, but if I'm going to change, then sometimes I got to change my environment, because sometimes it's influence and people around you sometimes that'll keep you from going to the next level. So when you look sometimes and you've been in a circle full of people that gossip and circle full of people that, you know, cussed and did whatever, you were there because that was you. And it's okay to outgrow it. And you got to be okay with growing. Let me help you. I want you to put this on the screen. I'm okay with growing up. I'm okay with growing up. I grew up, and some people won't let you grow up. That's your danger zone. Some people won't allow you to grow and spread your wings. So they try to stunt your growth. And you have to remove yourself from that type of environment. You know, there are going to be people in your life that, and they were good to you, they were faithful to you and loyal to you to get you where you are. But for you to go where you need to go, you can't do a whole lot of stuff. Me and a good friend of mine, we were talking about the things that we used to do and our past, and just the foolish decisions and things that the decisions that we used to make. You know, I mean, I'm at a place now where it's like, ain't nowhere in the world I would do that again. Ain't nowhere in the world I would put myself in situations like that again. For what? And watch this. One of the things that Bishop Smith taught me was always be around people that got something to lose. Because if they don't have anything to lose, they're gonna take what you got. And see, you got to get yourself in an environment whereby you got to realize that's value to me. And everybody may not see that value. See, I can't go out here and cause a bunch of people wanted to go out and drink, and I'm out here all on Facebook being crazy and silly and taking pictures and do. I got too many people looking at me. I got people who I'm accountable to. And so I can't have a circle that, like, see, if you don't want to do it, then get out of the circle. And we can be friends face to face, or we can be friends at a distance, but I'm just not gonna risk what I got for nobody no more. And that's the level. That's when you get to the next level. It's sometimes it's a lonely walk, because everybody is not concerned about their well-being, so they're not gonna be concerned about yours. And I'm not being mean. I'm not. I'm a loyal person. I believe in loyalty, friendship. I don't believe in spreading business. I don't believe, but once you've been cut by the same person, see, now I'm at a point where once you tell my personal business one time, we done. And there are people that have been, I know for me, that have been in my life that I trusted with information. I did things around and said things, and it got out. And so I've learned now to protect my space. See, that's your space. And you have to make sure that who's in your space can be trusted, because you're going to need them. That's the point I'm making. You're going higher. Oh, thank you, Lord. You're going to another place, another space. You don't need people around you who you can't trust or to hold you back. I'm here tonight to push you forward. I'm not here to tell you you can't do it. I'm here to tell you you can do it. You may have to do it different. You may have to rework it, or you may have to do something similar to and not the same, but you can do anything you put your mind to. And you can do it. See, I don't let everybody into my marriage. I don't talk to everybody about whatever me and my wife going on, because ain't nobody finna mess up my house. Ain't nobody finna mess up my ministry. I have mentors. I have people that I call, and I have a circle of that I know I'm safe with. And I think some of you all, that loneliness, that depression, that whatever, you got to have a space full of people that can nurture and help you to grow and develop and get you the way you need to be. Because you've overcome so much, and you don't need to keep going back to the same people that keep causing you the same problems. I'm just, if I'm talking, you say that, amen. I agree. You have to understand that there is a challenge. Sorry about that. There's a challenge in being in a space and in a situation to whereby you have to get around people that can help you to grow and get to where you are. And if you ain't trying to help me, then guess what you're trying to do? You're trying to hurt me. And I can't risk that no more. I can't say to myself that I'm willing to put everything that I'm working for on the line for a friendship that I can't even depend on, for people who ain't really in my corner. And you got to hear me tonight, because that's a challenge. And it can be, but you got to ask yourself, going back to this, how bad do you want it? I want it too bad to blow it. And then don't let God take you through all that you went through and then you blow it. Don't make people feel like you got to owe them and keep doing for them and keep pleasing them and pleasing them and appeasing what they want. And at the same time, it's costing you your own peace of mind. At some point, you got to love you. I've always told people this: you're no good to nobody if you're no good to yourself. And I want you to really mean this when you say it. I'm going to the next level. I'm gonna do it. Somebody put it, I'm gonna do it. And I'm not trying to do it by myself, because I got too much. It's too great for me to do it by myself and for you to do it by yourself, but you can do it. And that's the message. And I'm done. I want you to understand that that's a challenge, but you can overcome it. And I want you to put it on the screen. I can overcome it. I can do greater. I can do more. I can really, really have myself in a space where I'm really living up to the potential that God put in me. Somebody put this on the screen. I got purpose on my life. Every last one of you all hear me. Something that I had to learn, that through my pastoring and doing the things that I do, and I can't count how many times I want to just find something else to do, because it became challenging and overwhelming. But I realized that there's purpose in pain. There's purpose in the challenge. There's purpose in things, and figuring things out and trying to navigate through things. You become a better person and you become stronger. And sometimes God removes your crutches out of your life, is so you can stand on your own. I got great people in my life, and I have great people. I'm here because people make sacrifices for me to be here. Everything I got, somebody had to sacrifice, from my mom, my dad, my family, my sisters, my brothers, my friends, you know, people in the church, my pastor, my bishops, all of those, they sacrifice. People in the church, they sacrifice financially for me to do what I do. People are always making sacrifices to get you to what. So I didn't get here on my own. So I can never do that. And because of those sacrifices, that I owe it to every person that have ever believed in me, ever sowed a seed into me, ever have helped me along the way, to not quit. And so when I was facing challenges, that's my mentality. Somebody is counting on me. And for you tonight, somebody's counting on you. Somebody is really counting on you. Mom, dad, somebody is really looking for you to take the next step. And you cannot keep putting it off. Watch this. Now is the time. I want you to put that in bold last night. Now is the time. If there was ever a time to do it, now is the time. And I think you should reconsider quitting. Don't quit. Don't quit. And I want you to put on something. Don't quit. Reconsider. You may have to, I said, you may have to do it. You may have to get around to certain people. You may have to get rid of that old you. You may have to, move from the space that you in, but you can do it. And look at where I am now. It's because I'm not quit, and God is not through with me, and God ain't through with you. So keep the faith. Stay focused, and don't allow the challenge to be something that stops you. Let it be your motivation. Somebody put this on the screen. My challenge is my motivation. My challenge is motivating me to do more and better, and I can do it. One of the things that I'm doing with the church, with my church, and I'm going to ask you all to do that tonight, is I've asked every day I want us to get up $5 or $10 seed, and it's and it's and I mean, people say things, people may feel a certain way about it. Maybe people feel like maybe I shouldn't ask people to give. Maybe even on next level here tonight, I'm asking you because sometimes you got to meet the challenge. Many of you all tonight that are listening to me can sow a seed, right? It's not that some of you, it's not that you can't do it. It's just sometimes you don't want to meet the challenge. And if I'm going to get people to where they need to be, I have to challenge them in every area. But I want you to type in that meet the challenge. So I'm challenging people to do something because challenges are things that you're not comfortable with. You're not comfortable doing. And Lord knows that sometimes giving is a challenge for some people. But I'm here to tell you, give till you get comfortable doing it. There's nothing in me that hinders me from giving because I'm comfortable doing it. I got to a place where I give and I gave so much to it doesn't mean anything to me to financially be a blessing to anybody who I can be. If I can do it, I'm gonna do it. If I can't do it, then that means that I'm not the person that's supposed to do it. But if I can do it, I'm gonna do it. And that's what I'm asking you tonight is to consider as you give tonight, consider the challenge and meet it. Don't get angry at, and this is something I say to everybody. Stop getting mad at pastors and leaders who are running and pastoring churches that are asking you to give or to tithe or to sow. They're not trying to do that. I know it may be some people that do whatever, but there are people that are really genuine, that are really just trying to take care of their responsibilities and responsibilities of the church or responsibility for helping other people or doing things. So as you give and you sow, don't get mad at them. Don't get mad because somebody's requiring you to do something. Just it's a challenge, and sometimes you have to meet it. And if you can't, then don't do it. Tonight, I'm not begging anybody to do anything, but I know that on here tonight, there are those of you all who listen to me that can give. So give something in New Direction. Those of you all that are on here, I know that it may feel make somebody people feel some type of way. It's not gonna make me stop asking because I believe that this is something God told me to do. That's the challenge. Sometimes it's a challenge to get people to understand this is the Lord's doing. They may not see it, but it don't mean you give up and do it. So Father, tonight I pray that God, you give us the strength to meet the challenge. And I pray tonight, God, that your power would rest upon us and you would allow us to see what you've put inside of us and the abilities that you've given us. I pray tonight that people under the sound of my voice, that you would move them to plant seeds and sow into next level. And I pray that you would bless them. I pray that you will overflow them. And I pray, God, that giving will not continue to be a challenge. I thank you for all things and everything. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So I thank you for your seeds. I thank you for your time. I thank you for sharing this. If you haven't shared it, share it. And I want you to leave here tonight saying, I got something from this. I got something from this. You know, this blessed me. Whatever you can say, and then share it. And I thank you for the seeds that you're sowing tonight. I assure you that they will be handled properly and right. And I pray that you continue to do the things that we're asked to do. Some of your seeds, even the cameras that I have tonight, was just coming from seeds that people blessed and to help next level continue to be next level. And so I just pray that you would consider that and consider this good ground and consider that this night is a blessed night for you and it blessed you. All right. I love you all and thank you again for joining Next Level. We'll see you all next week. Okay. God bless.